Welcome back, friends. In this lecture, we will discuss about characteristics of database approach. Before going to discuss about the characteristics of the DBMS, we will see the major two difference between the traditional file processing and database approach. So traditional file processing, the first point is in traditional file processing, redundancy in defining and storing data results in wasted storage space. But you can see in the database approach, a single repository maintains all the data what we are going to work. And in traditional file processing, the redundant efforts to maintain common up-to-date data takes a lakhs of time. But in database approach, the user access through queries, transactions, and application programs. So these are the two major difference between the traditional file processing and the database approach. And now we will discuss about the four most important characteristics of database management system. The one is self-describing nature of a database system. The second thing is insulation between programs and data abstraction. The third thing is support of multi-views of the data. The fourth characteristics is sharing of data and multi-user transaction processing. So when we are discussing about self-describing nature of a database system contains a complete definition or description of the database structure and constraints. The definition is stored in the Dbms catalog. The information such as the structure of each file, the type and storage format of each data item, and various constraints on the data. The information stored in the catalog is called metadata, which describes the structure of the primary database. By generally speaking, we can define the metadata as data about data. The few of the latest database management systems, such as NoSQL systems, do not require metadata. Rather, the data is stored as self-describing data that includes the data item names, data values, and it combines both of the name of the data items and value of the data items in a single structure. So when you are discussing about database catalog, you can see this figure 3, which represents database catalog for university example. So in the left hand side, it speaks about the relationships. Relationships speaks about the relations. Relations in the sense it's a table describing a database. So the table contains two attributes. One is relation name, another one is number of columns. The right hand side, the column are again mentioned with the three attributes, that is column name, data type, and belongs to relation. So these are the three attributes. Now we will see what is relations and what is the right hand side figure columns. A general purpose DBMS software package is not written for a specific database applications. It works equally well with any number of database applications as traditional file processing works for a specific application. So the next characteristics is insulation between programs and data and abstraction. So the difference between traditional file processing and DBMS in the point of data abstraction and insulation between programs and data is mentioned here in the 2 points. In traditional file processing, structure of data file is embedded in the application programs, whereas in DBMS, the structure of data files is stored in the DBMS catalog separately from the access programs. The next point, in the traditional file processing, any changes to the structure of the file may require changing all programs. But in the DBMS, it access programs that do not require such changes in most cases. And two important parameters are mentioned here. One is program data independence, another one is program operation independence. So program operation independence in the sense the user can define operations on data such as functions or methods. The operation is specified in two parts as interface or signature and implementation or methods. So the two parts are interface and implementation. The signature contains operation name and data type of its arguments. The implementation can be changed without affecting the interface. When you are coming to data abstraction, the meaning is it hides storage and implementation of the DBMS. This characteristic that allows program data independence and program operation independence. The third characteristics of database approaches, it supports multi-views of the data. For example, if you are having a large database, a student database may contain the student details and what course the student is studying and what is the fee structure for a particular student and the address location of the student and what are all the hobbies of the student and what are all the interests of the student. So that it when you are discussing about the student database, you can see that the student database can have many informations, but we need a particular point of data from the student database. For that, we can create separate view of the data. Sometimes we can divide a single database, a single table into 2 or 3 tables. Okay, so that is what multi-views of the data. So a view may be a subset of the database or it may contain virtual data that is derived from the database files, but it is not explicitly stored. A multi-user DBMS whose users have a variety of distinct applications must provide facilities for defining multi-views. For example, here we have mentioned multi-views for the university database. So previously in the university example, so we have the student table and we have, these are the, you can see here how many databases are there. One is student database, another one is course, another one is section, another one is grade point, another one is pre-requesting. So what I need is, I need 2 columns from each database and I want to form a table. That is what here we did in the views. So in the transcript, so you can see here 2 major columns are there, 2 major attributes. One is student name, another one is student transcript. So under transcript, we are having 5 attributes: course number, grade, semester, year, section ID. When you are seeing the course pre-request is, previously in the university database, it has only the course number and the pre-requestee number. Here in the views, we have created a database which contains the course name also. This is the major advantage in the database management system, which supports multi-views of the data. And the last thing regarding to the characteristics of the database approaches, sharing of data and multi-user transaction processing. It performs concurrency control. So concurrency control will be detailed in the further lectures. Next thing is online transaction processing. So online transaction processing can be performed in a flexible manner by sharing the data from anywhere in the globe. A fundamental role of multi-user DBMS software is to ensure that concurrent transactions operate correctly and inefficiently. Each transaction is supposed to execute a logically correct database access if executed in its entity without interference from other transactions. So two main properties are used here from the ACID property, that is isolation and atomicity. So isolation in the sense we can perform the data query by isolating the data from a large database. Atomicity means at a time we have to perform one data query. Okay. So this lecture has the reference of Elmosri and Navati, the fundamentals of database management systems, 7th edition Pearson education. Thank you. We will meet in the next lecture.